once again, we find ourselves, John, in the place at the time, and the time and the place. The place is now. The time is now. No, wait. The place is here. The place is here. The place is now. The time is here. The time is. It's the Rage Select Podcast. It's what it's time for. It's time, and the time and the place are the Rage Select Podcast here on Rage Select. And welcome, everybody. I am Jeff.
I'm John.
And we have some stuff to talk about this week, John.
Yeah.
We have San Diego Comic-Con was happening. I feel like while Amanda and I recorded last week, it was like things were coming out.
Yeah.
And we're not going to talk about all of it because I'll be quite honest with, like, there's a lot of stuff. You know, that Pacific Rim trailer is pretty cool, but like, there's not anything to say about it, you know, or like,
yeah, it's just a teaser. It's not like there was no footage from the movie. It was,
yeah.
It was just the voice of GLaDOS talking over like a product advertisement for the Jaegers. So
right.
You know, it is what
or
it
like
is.
Defenders, where it just. Yeah. Those are all starting to run together for me of just like every one of these Marvel Netflix shows is starting to kind of look similar to me.
Well, this is because it's a combination of all the Marvel.
Okay, obviously.
It's all of them together.
Yes. No, well, that makes perfect sense. But before we get into the actual trailers that we are going to talk about, John, have you done anything over the last couple weeks? It's been
I'm
a
in the
little
process
while.
of moving.
Oh, my God. That's the worst.
It is the worst.
It is the worst thing.
Especially considering I've been procrastinating on packing.
No, that's the last thing that you want to do.
I know.
I have only had one positive moving experience, and it was when I was helping my friend move. And he had everything in boxes before I got there. He was just literally, we were like loading up, moving to a new place, and then unloading boxes, right?
Yeah.
And I got there because I told him I'd help him move. And what he did was he handed me a beer first thing, and he was like, "Before we do anything else, I want you to open this and drink it. We're just going to stand here." And then we did that, and actually, it made the whole thing go a lot faster.
Yeah. I am actually silently freaking out because of how much I have not packed, and how much I still need to do, and how little time I have to do it in, and. Yeah, so, you know,
okay.
I'm quietly screaming on the inside. So, you know.
Well, I don't know. Maybe some of the news this week will give you a chance to...
Part of the problem is I'm moving out of a fucking 3-bedroom house with a garage and moving into a 2-bedroom apartment.
Oh.
So I have to condense.
And you buy stuff.
Yeah.
Like you buy physical objects and put them in places.
Yes.
I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
There's as few physical objects as possible in as few places.
I am a low-level hoarder, I guess you could say. And
I think people, having watched like 4 seasons of Hoarders, I think people use that. It's like when people say, what do they say? Like, oh man, I'm so OCD about like, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's like, that's not what OCD really is.
Yeah. No. I'm not OCD, but I have a lot of stuff and I don't get rid of any of it. Ever.
Okay.
And it's like I have like 3-bedroom house. It's 98% my stuff.
Yeah.
Like maybe like 3% is Amanda's.
What is it? What is all of it?
DVDs, video game stuff, computer stuff, furniture, comic books. A good at least 30% of it is comic books. Action figures.
30% of the 3-bedroom house of your 3-bedroom house is comic books?
There's a lot of comics.
Okay, fair enough.
There's a lot of comics everywhere. They're not all in one place, but they're all over the place, and they're in boxes in the garage. In addition to being everywhere else,
it's the perfect opportunity to start throwing stuff away.
I know, and that's what I'm going to use it as. But it's not easy.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is I need to know what it is, and some of it does have value.
Yeah.
Like, as in, I could probably put it on eBay or something like that.
That's what those hoarders say on that show.
Well, you know, and actually get like a decent amount of money for it.
Okay.
And some of it is worth jack shit.
Yeah.
But I don't know what boxes what's in.
You could probably throw away all the Image comics. I'm just saying, it's probably none of those are worth anything, but.
No, actually, a lot of those are worth stuff.
Are they?
Some of them are.
Well, in any case, let's take your mind off of moving for a couple hours.
Well, I'm here, Jeff.
Let's talk about everything.
I'm here.
Let's talk about everything. And let's start by talking about a thing which in the last week I've gone from kind of zero to like knowing it existed to I'm kind of all up in it now. And that is Ready Player One. So I know that a lot of people have been... okay, all I knew about this book beforehand was that I talked with Jason about it, like, when it came out, he read it, didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, fine. Jason didn't like it. I trust Jason's judgment. I'm just going to go on with my life, right? Yeah. So then this Comic-Con trailer comes out.
Before even saying that, like, I know a lot of people, like my feed of people on Facebook about this book, like before this trailer even came out, were literally one of two camps. Mm-hmm. It's the greatest piece of geek fiction ever written in the history of anything.
Yes.
Or this is the worst pile of garbage ever written, and it is an affront to humanity.
Yes.
Like, seems to be no in between.
Yeah. Well, so I think that what happened was I watched this trailer, and this trailer has an awful lot of references in it.
Yes.
Go watch the trailer if you haven't, or skip ahead if you don't feel like you want to watch it. But, you got the DeLorean, there's Freddy Krueger's in there,
the Iron Giants
walking around.
Fucking the motorcycle from Akira.
Oh, yeah. I didn't recognize that at first. But you know what the problem with this trailer is it doesn't really explain anything about what the movie is about.
Yeah.
So I came away from it and I was like, that's a lot of pretty images that you just showed me. But, like, for example, I was comparing it before. The first Thor Ragnarok teaser was great because it was about 2 minutes long, and it gave me an idea of what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Hela's going to invade Asgard. Thor's going to get thrown out and then get put into an arena with the Hulk. Those things are probably going to happen, and that at least gives me a place to be like, okay, you got a bad guy, you got a story, you got a thing. This is just
the whole, and you can assume just from those events that it's like, oh, he gets in a fight with the Hulk on this planet. Oh, okay, he's going to team up with the Hulk after that, and they're going to go get Asgard back.
Right,
like that. You could assume that from the trailer without it telling you that.
Sure, you see Loki there sitting next to Jeff Goldblum in that trailer. Yeah. Loki's going to be in here because, of course, we can't do Thor without Loki. Anyway, but this was more just like world building and showing me flashy images than it was telling me anything. And so I was like, there were some people that I was seeing that were really like, oh my God. And I'm like, what? Oh my God. Because I'm not getting anything off of this trailer. So then I started reading the book, and I'm not going to comment until I'm done, but it's hard to read. I've never screamed, I know, at a book so many times. I don't need you to explain to me how Robotron 2084 works, Ready Player One. I fucking played Robotron 2084. I made Robotron 2084. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I'm sorry. Yelling.
No. It's no. I get that. Like, I feel like the reason people were squeeing and like, oh my God, this is so great, had less to do with the specific scenes that were there, but more to do with the references that are there.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, you see Iron Giant, you see the DeLorean, you see, the Freddy Krueger, you see the motorcycle, you see all these things. Because a lot of people, when they said they were going to turn this into a movie, everyone went, I don't know, it references a lot of shit that's owned by a lot of different movie companies. How is this going to work? How are they going to make those references? Are they going to pull all the and then you had Steven Spielberg coming on and making a public announcement that he was removing any references to his films from the script, because he felt it might be a little redundant. Like, he didn't want to redo anything he's already done.
Okay.
So he's like, because I'm directing this, I've removed any references to my work from the script, or had them remove that. So, so you have, but you have characters that kind of look like other characters that they clearly couldn't get the rights for.
Right.
You have things that are clearly the characters that you think they are. You have, it's, so everyone was just like, oh my God, they actually got some of the properties that are not owned by the studio in this, Yeah,
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see whether it ends up working out well. I don't know.
I mean, here's the thing. It's Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
I don't hate his movies. I don't think I've hated a movie he's done.
What was the last movie that he did?
Oh God, fuck if I remember.
Let's see. Let's find out.
But I can't think of anything that he's done that I've actually hated outside of, and even like movies that he's done that I didn't love.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't like hate. Like, again, I didn't hate them.
Yeah. What?
What?
He's got a credit on executive producer on Transformers: The Last Night?
Probably.
Weird. The BFG was his last movie.
No, he didn't direct that.
Oh
Oh no, BFG was the monster movie. Yeah, no, that was. Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking of something else. I was thinking of
not the big fucking gun, the big friendly giant.
Yeah, big friendly giant. Yeah.
And then Bridge of Spies.
Yeah, which Bridge of Spies was actually really good.
Lincoln, Warhorse, Tintin, Crystal Skull. Yeah, I don't know. I find Spielberg to be largely inoffensive, but not like a...
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that.
Not as like, my mind is blown, oh shit!
So, in that regards, I see this trailer and I go, yeah, it looks kind of fun. And I trust Spielberg enough to believe that he wouldn't make a movie without a plot of some kind.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to have a plot. I just wish the trailer told me a little bit about it. Because the first 15 pages of the book, I was like, oh, I see what the plot of this is. Like, I can... I was actually really disappointed because Jason came over here. I'd read 3 pages of the book, and I was like, yeah, so I can see what's going on here. This kid, and then this thing, and then there's probably going to be like, this thing's going to happen, this thing's going to happen. And as I kept reading, I was like, oh, fuck, man, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
kind of reminds me of when I read the Da Vinci Code. Like, literally, first page, like, oh, is this what the answer's going to be? And then, like, is this the big twist at the end? Like, within, like, the first chapter, and then, like, get to the end of the book. And I was like, oh, no, it's not going to be that. And I'm getting towards that. And it's like, oh, no, it's exactly that. Fuck this book.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to hold off, like, judgment on whether I think the story is good or bad until I finish the book. But so far, the references, the whole referencing everything from the 80s thing is it's, like, tiring to me because I was alive when that stuff, I mean, like, the games that they're talking about I've played, the shows they're talking about I've watched, and, like, yeah, you're going to sprinkle the Greetings Starfighter, like, thing from the last Starfighter in there and then just blow past it, and it's like, but it's just a million miles a minute of just, like, here's a thing, and here's a thing, and here's a thing. It's kind of exhausting, but...
Yeah, so, I mean, my thing is like... I feel like because it's going to be a movie, it's not going to have someone sitting there explaining, and this is from G.I. Joe. This character is Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes is a silent mutant ninja who could blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And here's the Iron Giant. He's a giant robot who, it's not going to...
It might end up being more like, like Top 10 or like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, like you were saying before, where that stuff is just in the background.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, and it's like, I think as far as the movie goes, I feel like because the problem that a lot of people I know that had with the book, and that I kind of had with the book as well, is that it not only made the references, but then had to explain the references in case you weren't alive then.
Yeah.
And that's what the biggest problem is, because he spends so much time explaining the references. It's like, no, we get it. Just you not only said what it's a reference to, but you've also explained the plot of that movie that you referenced in full detail. Thanks. Let's move on. Oh, here's another. Oh, he's going into another explanation of in full detail. Okay. And it's literally because there's so many references in a row. It's like, it's just the writing is just explaining it over and over and over and over again. And it's like, I don't care. Well, I already know this shit.
Right. So it might
movie,
work for
movie, because you're just going to see it, and it's not going to be someone's not going to pop up on screen and go, "Hey, you see that guy over there? That's Snake Eyes." Not saying that Snake Eyes is going to be in the movie or anything. I'm just saying, that's the first thing that popped in my head that could be a reference to something. He's from G.I. Joe. Yeah. There's not going to be that. So you're not going to. You might be like, "Oh my God, that's Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe," and then it ends there.
Right.
Because Spielberg is at least a master enough craftsman of a filmmaker that he knows not to spend too much time explaining shit that doesn't need to be explained.
Absolutely.
Let it be an Easter egg that people will see and go, "Oh my God, that's Snake Eyes from this thing," and then move on,
Yeah, instead of really nailing it down. Speaking of things that we all know about, Justice League is going to be a thing. There's a new Justice League trailer from Comic-Con. We're only going to talk about 3 trailers from Comic-Con, and this is one of them. I got to say that I like that out of everything in this trailer, I really enjoyed the fact that it looks like they are going to be using the Flash as comic relief. Yeah. There's more kind of quippy comic relief in this trailer than I've seen in maybe any of the DC Universe movies.
Yeah.
Outside of maybe Suicide Squad, had a few yucks in it, even though some of them were at the expense of, like, that girl's husband is dead and, like, whatever. I don't know. This is the first trailer I think that we've seen since Whedon took over editing and doing, like, reshoots and stuff.
Yeah.
Does this do anything for you, John?
I mean, it looks like a good trailer, and mind you, I haven't seen Wonder Woman. I know, and people are going to probably, you haven't seen Wonder Woman? It's like, and I do want to watch Wonder Woman because I've heard nothing but great things, and I want to see it. I don't know. Like, it looks okay. I'll probably watch it just to see what happens, but, like, I'm probably not going to watch it, like, day one.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to wait until I get certain reviews from certain people that I trust.
Yeah.
The trailer had some things I liked. It also had a lot of things I didn't like. Like, for example, all the CGI still looks like garbage. And also the tone of certain sentences and phrases that are said in this thing utter like that Batman v Superman was a completely different type of movie.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's just like, you have Bruce Wayne going, Superman was a beacon of hope. When people saw him, he made them realize who they the real true, the real who they were, who they could be,
right.
The potential they could be. I'm like, bitch, none of that happened in either Man of Steel or Batman v Superman. Everyone fucking hated Superman in those movies. They thought he was an alien dictator coming to kill them. You wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
It's like, don't even give me that bullshit. Don't try to rewrite your own fucking history within the span of a sentence.
Yeah. I don't know. If they can just do this Flash correctly, I'll be okay with just that.
So they also made some announcements about the next movies, the schedule, and they announced some information for the Flash movie.
Okay.
That made me suddenly not fucking care anymore.
Really?
Yeah, the Flash movie is going to be called Flashpoint. It's going to be a retelling of Flashpoint.
Oh, there are so many good Flash stories.
Yeah.
Why Flashpoint?
As soon as they said Flashpoint, I went, well,
no!
I don't fucking care anymore.
No, come on. Flashpoint. I mean, it is the darkest, grittiest Flash story, but like, oh, come on, man. There's so many good Flash stories that you could be telling.
Yeah, but it's like I'm sorry, I've already got an animated version of Flashpoint.
Yep.
I've already got a half-ass TV show version of Flashpoint.
Yep.
I already read the comic of Flashpoint.
Yep.
I fucking hate that story.
It's kind of like the way that they love to put Batman and Superman.
I think they just want to do a story because there's also the rumors that or the theories that because there's the rumors that Ben Affleck is going to be replaced as Batman at some point.
Yeah.
And there's some people expecting that the theory is that this Flashpoint movie he'll come back and it'll be a different actor. But also I think it's because they also want the guy that played Thomas Wayne, Negan, the guy who plays Negan on Walking Dead.
Okay.
They also want him to be as a Batman character in Flashpoint.
Well, that's in the Flashpoint universe. Thomas Wayne is like the gun-wielding Batman, right?
Yeah, he's the gun-wielding Batman.
Yeah.
In the alleyway, Bruce Wayne was killed, and Martha Wayne was shot.
Why did you say that name?
Yeah, exactly. Martha Wayne was shot but not killed, and she became the Joker, and and Thomas Wayne becomes Batman.
Yep.
So yeah, that's whatever.
Something about that house, man. They're just making Batman.
So I have issues with that. But I will say I did like about this trailer. I like the fact that they were like there are no core members.
Yeah.
They reference the Green Lanterns. Or he says, like, there's no lanterns on your planet or whatever, or something like that. He talks about the Kryptonian being dead. Like, there's a monologue at the very beginning, very clearly from the villain.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool. Again, I'm loving everything I'm seeing with Jason Momoa as Aquaman. Like, his, like, kind of like person, like surfer dude, whatever reaction to everything is fucking awesome.
Okay.
In my mind, like there are things I liked in that trailer, but there are enough things that still give me pause, not only about that trailer, but about other things surrounding that movie and about other announcements that make me go, you know what? One good movie does not mean I trust you anymore.
Sure. Yeah.
You know?
No. Yeah. And I thought, I mean, as I've stated a bunch of times, I thought that Wonder Woman was okay. I didn't think it was quite as good as everybody else did. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see before the end of the year, right?
Yeah, something like
that. As a quick aside, did you watch the Archer
Kingsman
crossover?
No, I didn't.
Oh man,
and that's mainly because I haven't seen the Kingsman and I don't really watch Archer. So
okay, well that's fair enough. if you have seen any or both, it's a pretty fun little thing because it's just a vehicle for Archer to be a douchebag to the Eggsy from Kingsman, who's like this really kind of suave super spy, and then you've just got Sterling Archer, the asshole dick, in his in the little Kingsman thing. It's a fun little short. It's about 2 minutes long. I would recommend everybody go watch it. But last on the trailer front, Thor Ragnarok. So speaking of Thor Ragnarok, this trailer expanded on what was set up in the last trailer, showed us that we're probably going to be doing Thor's getting together his own little Avengers team, right?
Yeah. We're going to get a talking Hulk.
Yep. Well, Hulk had what, one line of dialogue? He
didn't talk at all in Avengers 2. He had one line of dialogue in Avengers 1.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more Hulk smash out there.
Yeah. Which, I mean, the idea is that Hulk has been on this planet since Avengers 2.
Yeah.
Or at least somewhere around then. And so instead of being Banner, he's been Hulk that entire time. And in the comics for Planet Hulk, they actually established the longer that he's Hulk, the more intelligent Hulk gets.
Oh, okay.
So the longer he's hulked up, it's still Hulk and not Banner, but he gets a little bit more intelligent. So that makes sense to me that we're getting a Hulk that talks.
Okay.
And I like it. I like everything I'm seeing. I like everything about this. Looks fun. Everything looks great.
It looks a little bit quippier than I remember generally Thor being, but I'm okay with that because I love the idea of that we haven't seen. We saw maybe a little bit in no, that was Iron Man. I like the idea of the Thor Hulk road trip kind of buddy movie.
No,
right?
Same here. I dig it. I dig I even like the whole line between him and Banner where he's like, "Yeah, we even got into a fight. Oh, did I win? No, I totally won." Well, that doesn't sound right. No, it's totally true.
Do we know who this lady is?
That's Valkyrie.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
Isn't it?
I don't know. she got the colors. I'm not really super familiar with the Thor canon, so I don't know, but that makes sense. Yeah, so that seems like I don't know. I don't really have anything that I could say to this outside of looks real fun. Maybe someday I'd like to see a Thor movie that doesn't have Loki in it. I mean, I don't have a problem with Loki. I just every single movie has had him in it.
I'm wondering,
do you think he's gonna fuck Thor over before the movie's over?
Well,
John?
So you want to hear something strange? And this is so I happen to know a little bit about Norse mythology, not a lot, but a little bit. So Hela, is in the comics is based on the Norse god Hel.
Yeah.
Who is Loki's daughter. In Norse mythology. Wolf, the giant wolf that you're seeing in the couple scenes in the trailer, that is also Loki's son in Norse mythology.
Interesting.
Now, not in the comics so much. I think in the comics they separated that, and he's not. But I'm wondering if they're going to use any of that, or if.
Yeah,
and I'm sure someone could tell me I'm wrong on my Norse mythology. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, seems cool. But you know what? Enough about all this. We're fucking almost 25 minutes in, and we haven't talked about a single video game. Are you ready to talk about video games?
Always.
Okay. First up, kind of a mixed bag this week, and not as much stuff as last week. And my browser doesn't really want to cooperate anymore. Anyway, we already watched this trailer, so we can talk about it. Wolfenstein II, the new Colossus. We got a trailer that was almost entirely. I feel like this exact same thing has happened in previous Wolfenstein games, and it's also really channeling Inglourious Bastards at the beginning of the. We saw this in the E3 trailer.
Yeah, a little bit of it. We saw a snippet of it in the E3 trailer, and now we got a little bit more.
Yeah, BJ Blazkowicz kind of going into a diner, and then this kind of German kind of military commandant guy comes in and starts giving him the well, you seem really familiar. Let me see your papers.
Yeah, and in the background on the TV is a picture of saying "Wanted" of BJ Blazkowicz, and also a poster on the wall that's behind him as well.
No real actual gameplay in this. More just this would be really a pain in the ass if all of my videos won't play. No real gameplay, more just kind of a little cinematic thing. I mean, I still think, I think it looks real good. Everything I've seen from Wolfenstein 2 looks pretty good so far. And I've had some people that have asked what Amanda and I to go back and play Wolfenstein for Sequential Saturday after we finish with Doom. And I don't know, man. That's a long haul. But
I do know that they did announce that while they're not going to have any like game save transfers, they are going to have like when you launch a new game, it's going to basically kind of do what Mass Effect 2 did on the PS4.
Yep.
Which it's going to ask you some questions.
Yep.
And then you can decide which timeline. Based on that, which timeline you're in?
According to the story that was the next thing up on the list, I think it's just going to straight up ask you which timeline.
Yeah.
Like, because the whole thing was based on, like, who you save in the first mission.
Yeah.
Like, there was a part where you get to save either the older guy or the younger guy, and then that splits you into one of the two timelines. And then it's just straight up going to be like, yo, man, which timeline you want? And
yeah, pretty much.
That sounds great. Which is nice because, I mean, like, why would you even do anything differently than that? Like, why would you need, like, a save game transfer for a thing that you could just make with a single choice?
Yeah.
Now, you know what? I don't... Oh, this is interesting. My browser's fucked up in a way where it's just showing the same story over and over again. So, Season Pass.
Yeah.
What the pre-order
bonuses.
Yep. And normally, as you guys know, I'm not an advocate of season passes. In fact, I'm staunchly anti-season pass.
You are.
But I really like that this season pass apparently is going to be 3 different missions with other operatives in the Resistance finding out more about the Nazi takeover of America, resisting in different places. And I kind of really like the style that they're going with here, because the 3 DLCs are going to be The Adventures of Gunslinger Joe, a former professional quarterback. Joseph Stallion smashed through the Nazi hordes from the ruins of Chicago to the vastness of space. That sounds awesome. I would play the hell out of that. The Diaries of Agent Silent Death, as an ex-OSS agent and assassin, Jessica Valiant infiltrate Nazi bunkers in California and discover the secrets of Operation San Andreas. That sounds great. I'll play the hell out of that. And The Amazing Deeds of Captain Wilkins, as the U.S. Army's renowned hero Captain Gerald Wilkins embark on a mission to Nazi-controlled Alaska to dismantle Operation Black Sun. I'm like, I think this game sounds like it's going to have a lot of fun with this whole like Nazis took over America thing, and I'm fully in favor of that. Not of Nazis taking over America, but of playing games where you get to shoot Nazis that take over America.
Who took over America.
Yes.
Yeah.
Still though, do not buy Season Pass. You probably are going to save $4, and it could turn out that the Diaries of Agent Silent Death is terrible. And also, do we know, is there a pre-order BS thing for this as well?
Probably. It says a pre-order bonus thing in the title of the article.
Players who pre-order the game or buy the Season Pass will get access to the Freedom Chronicles Episode 0, which Bethesda says will let you blast your way through Nazis using unique abilities and an arsenal of guns in this opening DLC mission. So pre-order or buy the Season Pass, and you'll get access to a prequel to the game itself. Boy, that sounds like something I want to play. This is how they get you.
Yeah.
Goddamn fucking ugh. I went to GameStop the other day to buy I think it was Splatoon 2, and the guy asked me if I wanted to pre-order anything, and he was new, and I was like, I don't believe in pre-ordering, and he was like, why? And I explained it to him, and he was just like, okay. Because I think he was going to try to sell me on it, and then I don't think he could find any way through my ironclad argument about why you shouldn't pre-order stuff.
Okay.
Sorry. All right, let's shift gears from Bethesda, or from Nazis to Uncharted.
Yes.
Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. We got a 13-minute gameplay trailer. This is like very, very similar to, I feel like, the that trailer that we got for Uncharted 4, where they were kind of driving around. Because it's a lot of like kind of driving around, getting in the car, getting out of the car, looking at maps, doing stuff. There was a couple of interesting things that I saw in here. One was the ability to like lockpick a chest and then get like special weapons. At one point, the person playing Chloe is able to pick up a silenced pistol by sneaking around and unlocking a chest. I don't remember if that. I think there were some like special weapons you could get in Uncharted 4, but I don't know. All I know is that they do this whole thing where the person is sneaking around and sneaking around and sneaking around, and they never really get seen. And I'm just like, I was only ever able to kill like 2 people in Uncharted before they were just like, alarm, and then everything went to hell. Did you play Uncharted 4?
I did not.
Okay. You played some of the Uncharted?
I played all of 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
I just never got around to playing 4.
Okay. Does this do anything for you? I mean, I just talked about it from the E3 thing.
Kind of, but I mean, it's kind of one of those things where I'm just like, you know what? I'll get to it eventually.
Yeah. Wait for it to come on like a sale or PS Plus or something.
I mean, it's
like
already going to be a budget title from what I understand.
Yeah.
So, you know.
But I get the feeling that around Christmas you might be able to pick it up for like $20.
Maybe. I got other stuff that I gotta focus on.
It's, you know what? I gotta say that even in the summer doldrums where we are right now, 2017 is a dense goddamn year for video games.
Yeah.
Like there's just been games and more games and games and then some other games on top of those games.
A lot of good ones too.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still interested in this. Nothing has really changed about my opinion. I think this looks really good. I would love to see. It's kind of the same reason that I liked the season pass plans for Wolfenstein. Is I love the idea of taking these franchises and instead of just running the main character into the ground, like do some spin-off stuff, do some alternate missions and whatnot. Next up, we have the Commander Jackson reveal trailer for Crackdown 3. John, can you contain yourself?
There was no fucking gameplay.
That's true. There was no gameplay. It was just a render of Terry Crews. I don't really understand.
And it's like, and also that render looks 10 times better than any of the preview footage I've seen of Crackdown 3.
Oh, does it?
It looks like 1,000,000 times more detailed and better than any of the footage I've seen of Crackdown.
Oh, okay. Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Matter of fact, you know how it kind of de-reses and it looks like it gets like less detailed?
Yeah.
That final one before the mesh goes on his head, that looks better than Crackdown 3's preview footage.
Really?
Yeah.
This one right here?
Yeah.
That looks better than the preview footage of Crackdown 3?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. All right.
So hopefully they've upped their shit.
Well, because when the original reveal, you know, this render looks really good. Like when they first show him.
Yeah.
Looks real nice. I still would like... This is kind of going back to the Ready Player One thing. I'd still like a nicely put together like story trailer for Crackdown 3 or like 10 minutes of...
It's never going to happen because it's Crackdown.
Okay,
Crackdown has never been about the story.
Yeah, I don't really understand that, but we've been over that, so let's not dwell too much. Let's not
beat a dead horse too much.
That's correct. Speaking of beating a dead horse,
oh shit!
Guess what's coming out on consoles, John?
Sims 4?
Yeah, you know that because you're looking at the browser window that
I remember the order you put them in.
Yeah. Yes, The Sims 4 is coming to console, which I actually find really, really interesting because...
you forgot that it never came to consoles.
No. I remembered that because I think a while back I was thinking... I don't dislike the Sims games.
Yeah, no, I actually liked Sims 4 a lot.
And I think that I could like sit on the couch and play a Sims game, and it would probably be a lot more fun than hunkering down on my computer, right?
Yeah.
So I remember at one point thinking, like, is this shit out on console? Or it was like, no, it wasn't out on console. But what it did remind me of is the fact that, like, did you remember when Sims 4 came out and, like, I'm using air quotes here, the Sims community was just like, this is garbage. This game is the biggest piece of shit in the world. The Sims 3 was 1,000,000 times better.
Yeah.
But I bet they all still bought it. Bought it, and I bet they bought those expansion packs and that content stuff.
Well, they also did release some free expansion packs as well, which seemed to make up for a lot of it.
Yeah.
Like, people, like, it was one of those things that people were upset when it first came out, but then after time, like before, like even the first paid expansion pack, like it seemed to win people back with some of the free content that they released.
Okay.
And then they released their paid expansion packs, and then people were like, okay, this is starting. I mean, I think that's also the other thing that people also forgot about Sims 3.
Yeah,
is that what they had at before Sims 4 came out, what Sim 3 was before Sims 4 came out, was not the game that Sims 3 was when it first came out.
Oh, yeah.
Every Sims game has been plagued with expansions that make the game 10 times more better.
Right.
And people often forget that those are expansions. So.
Okay. All I know is that I can't wait for it to come out because it was kind of creepy watching the Rage Select house.
You mean the park with the house with no walls?
No. That was on our Sunday stream with Kayla. But when Grant and I played it on the dojo, we just downloaded all the Rage Select people into one house, and then we had our hot dog guy go visit them, and it was like Allison and Jason kept making out, and like Grant kept pulling pranks on the hot dog guy, and I kept trying to like read a book or play a video game in the corner, and I was just like, "How do you know me so well, The Sims? Like, how did you figure all this out?"
It's because we're actually Sims.
Oh no! Oh shit! There's a diamond over my head. I don't know though. You know, I feel like I got no problems with The Sims. I feel like I used to have a problem with The Sims, but they've expanded so much these days that you can do like, you know, so many nutty things. Be a spaceship captain or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you could do so many crazy things in all the expansions. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for it. Like I'm not gonna buy it again because I already bought it on PC. But you know.
Yeah. Well, would you buy it?
I do think that there are a lot of people out there who don't have PCs that would totally buy a Sims 4 if it came out on console. So I think it's a smart move.
All right. Well, if you don't have a PC and you want to play old Atari or Sega games, well, guess what? The company that already, who are these guys? Digital Media at Games. They're the ones that made those like Atari 2600, like plug it into the controller bullshits. Yeah. They're putting out a few new things. One of them is called the Atari Flashback Gold, and we got the Sega Genesis Flashback, and then there's even a Atari Flashback Portable Gamer. I feel like this is all. I feel like these guys have got to be so pissed at Nintendo, right? Because
I think the Sega one was already announced.
Oh yeah,
and I think it was announced because of the success of the NES Classic. Yeah,
I kind of like the. These are all relatively, relatively reasonable. The Atari Flashback Portable Game Player is 70 games, and it's going to be $60. The Atari Flashback 8 Gold is 120 games for $80, and the Sega Genesis Flashback is 85 games. The Sonic series, Mortal Kombat, Shining Force is being released with an integrated cartridge port that plays most Sega Genesis and Mega Drive original cartridges. Oh, that's pretty cool. So you can also, it's got 85 Sega games, and you can plug a Genesis or Mega Drive cartridge into it.
Yeah,
for $80. That's actually
solid. A really solid deal.
Yeah, but I do kind of also like this like Flashback portable gaming player, because it's just like a little handheld thing that you can grab onto. I don't know. There's also that story. I guess I should have brought that up about how Walmart canceled all, or they put the SNES Classic out there, and then they canceled all the pre-orders that came in for it.
Pissed off a lot of people.
I'm looking at that. It's going to be the same thing as the NES Classic, right?
Yeah.
Where like if you don't get in the first round of pre-orders, you're fucked, and you can't buy one unless you're willing to pay $400 for it.
Pretty much.
And they're going to make 2 runs of it that are going to sell out, and then they're going to stop manufacturing it entirely.
No, of course.
Yeah. Which somebody, I feel like on one of our podcasts, I'm sorry, I don't read as many of the podcast comments anymore, but I feel like on one of the podcasts, somebody was really trying to take me to task for like, well, Nintendo has other priorities about what they're manufacturing, like the Switch and blah, 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 and so they can't manufacture more NES Classics, and I'm just like, dude, fuck that. Like, Nintendo has money. Yeah, I understand that they don't have unlimited resources and that they have to, like, switch up assembly lines, and they're, trying to push the 2DS is coming out tomorrow as of
the 2DS XL
recording this, but fuck that. There are a lot of people who want that NES Classic. You've got a ton of money. Nintendo is not a poor company, is not some kind of indie bootstrap company that can't afford to do 3 things at once. Spend a little money, open up a new production line, and make more NES Classics, and let people buy them until we all have the ones that we want, because otherwise, I don't know. I'm not going down this road again. Not going down this road again. From here, I feel like we mostly just have a bunch of kind of announcements. Actually, no, that's not true. Sorry, folks. My browser is all fucked up, so if this is a little fragmented, that's the reason. Okay, so at Comic-Con, it turns out, on the Nintendo Switch Ultra Street Fighter, how they had Angry Ken and Evil Ryu.
It was Furious Ken and Evil Ryu.
Okay, there's also Shin Akuma that was in there that nobody knew about, and Capcom told people how to unlock Shin Akuma. And I'm here to tell you it's redonkulous.
Yeah?
Yeah. In order to get Shin Akuma in your Ultra Street Fighter 2, choose Ryu, highlight color 1, then press cancel. Choose Ken, highlight color 9, then press cancel. Choose Sagat, highlight color 8, then press cancel. Choose M. Bison, highlight color 7, and then press cancel. Highlight the random select, and then press L and R simultaneously. And here's the thing, John. You have to do that every time you want to play the game with Shin Akuma.
Yeah.
I bought this version of Street Fighter on the Switch.
Yeah.
I think it kind of sucks personally. Like, I don't know. It just didn't really do much for me. I didn't like the way it controlled, and I had a bunch of problems with it, but I don't know. I guess that's nothing in this entire universe is going to stop Capcom from re-releasing Street Fighter as many goddamn...
Street Fighter 2?
Yeah.
Specifically?
Just as many times as humanly possible. God fucking forbid we ever see Darkstalkers or Tech Romancer. Like, no. Street Fighter 2 again and again and again.
I think they did re-release the first Darkstalkers on the 360 and the PS3.
Yes, I believe they did. But they should put out more of them. They should make a new Darkstalkers. They should stop pussyfooting around and just make a new Darkstalkers from scratch. All right, next up, THQ. THQ Nordic has actually talked about at Gamescom that there's going to be some... They announced what they're going to be showing at Gamescom.
Okay.
Battle Chasers Night War and Bugbear's Wreckfest. But then they teased a few things, and I thought this would be a nice way for us to do some rampant speculation. So just completely unfounded, crazy bullshit speculation.
New Tony Hawk.
They don't own that franchise.
Oh, that's right.
The first title, a new original IP, is an open-world RPG described as a post-apocalyptic kung fu fable. So I'm thinking it's Six String Samurai meets Grand Theft Auto. That's what they're doing. I don't know. But the second title is the return of a mysterious and well-known horrific series for a new installment. So
horrific. So what kind of horror games did THQ make?
Yeah. Most people are thinking... Or do you want to take a guess first?
No, I can't think of anything. So what are most people thinking?
Most people are thinking Painkiller. It's going to be a new Painkiller game. Let's see what... I mean, we already know that there's going to be a new Darkstalkers.
Yeah.
So we don't... That's
Darksiders.
Darksiders. Yeah, not Darkstalkers. Darkstalkers on the brain. Let's see... Can I get a list of THQ games? Okay, here we go. And let's go from the release here. Is it Homefront? Is it a new Homefront? That's pretty horrifying.
Well, no, they don't own the rights to Homefront anymore.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I thought that was like Deep Silver now or whatever.
Yeah, it is. Let's see. Darksiders, Saints
Fear?
Row.
Do they have Fear? Were they Fear?
Fear was... Mono?
No, yeah, you're right. It's Mono. I'm trying to think of horror style games that were like fan favorites that are super popular or whatever.
Yeah. Red Faction.
That's not really a horror.
Yeah. I don't know. Deadly Creatures. You remember that Wii game where you got to play as like a spider and a scorpion and stuff? That's pretty horrifying. No,
for you.
Stalker.
Yeah.
Wait, isn't Stalker... Do they own Stalker? Okay, never mind. I don't know. Anyway, Titan Quest? Destroy All Humans? What if they made a new Destroy All Humans?
I'd be okay with that.
Oh, man, what if it was like a horror-based Destroy All Humans where it's all like 60s movie monsters and stuff like that? It'd be pretty cool.
I'd be okay with that.
Man, THQ made a lot of goddamn games. Anywho. We will find out soon. Let's see. Next up, Minecraft on the Nintendo Switch has been updated. It used to be that Minecraft on the Nintendo Switch played at 720p on all versions of the game, and people were upset about that because, of course, they are, because
they want really 60 frames per second.
Need to see the really super sharp edges of the Minecraft blocks, because, of course, you do. Well, apparently there's been an update, and now when it's in the dock, it will run at 1080p instead of 720p update. So if you got Minecraft and you were just like, and then you threw your Switch in the street and drove over it with your car, we should have done that because they fixed it, and if you hadn't done that, you could have done it.
Also, why would you do that because of Minecraft?
People have very strong feelings about Minecraft. I don't know. I don't understand them. I mean, I think Minecraft's all right and everything. Let's see. So August 26th of this year, the studio that makes Yakuza is going to be announcing a new game.
Oh.
And considering the fact that we've already had a prequel to Yakuza, a remake of the first Yakuza, and a sequel to Yakuza, I'm thinking that it's going to be Yakuza in space, or Yakuza in the distant past, or Yakuza throughout time and other dimensions.
Okay.
Yakuza Ragnarok. So the guys from Yakuza and the Hulk team up, and they have to go fight in another dimension.
That's 1 month from now.
Is it?
Yeah, August is next month.
We get to the back half of the year, and the whole thing is just a blur to me. I past July, everything just completely gets fucked up in my head.
Oh shit! I just saw the title of the next article.
Yep. Speaking of things that are fucked up, so Night Trap is. We know Night Trap is coming out in August, but they actually have a kind of interesting limited collector's edition release of Night Trap.
Yeah, for limited run games. Yeah.
Yes. That's coming in a tall Sega CD style box.
Nice.
And then it's also going to have so there's going to be 3,000 copies of this as a collector's edition. Features I pulled this just for you, John, because God knows I would never buy one of these. Features the game, a reversible Sega CD style cover art and box, a poster, and a cassette tape featuring the Night Trap theme song and an embroidered patch.
Wow. Yeah. I would not buy the collector's edition, but I'll probably buy the game for as terrible as it is, because it's, let's make no mistake here, Night Trap is a fucking terrible game.
Yeah.
But God, do I love it.
There's nothing wrong with that. I just want the precedent set so we can get like Sewer Shark, and then what was that?
Oh yeah, Sewer Shark.
Zombie Voodoo.
I need a remake of Marky Mark Make My Video.
Oh, dude. Yep, we need to take the original footage and spend $10,000 remastering it so that we can make our own video.
Or just pay Marky Mark to remake all the footage now.
I'm trying to think. There's what are some of the early FMV games that we could bring back, like the Journeyman Project, or. There's one, goddamn, I remember a game, I can't remember what it is, though, that I used to go to my friend's house to play. It was like a really early CD-ROM game that had like screens and a bunch of like levers and stuff that you could push. Anyway, I don't know.
Do you remember anything else about it?
No, I can't. If I think of anything else, I will let you know.
Was it Ripper starring Christopher Walken?
No, it was not. Okay. It was not Ripper starring Christopher Walken. All right, and last but certainly not least, John, how do you feel about the news that we have a WWE 2K18? We got the Cena Nuff. Did you get it? Did you get the pun? The Cena Nuff edition with 2 Batistas and 3.
No, it's just 1 Batista, 1 Rob Van Dam, 2 John Cena skins, and 2 Kurt Angle skins. Okay. Which the 2 Kurt Angle skins are actually a pre-order bonus, so if you pre-order the game, you're going to get that.
Okay.
Regardless of what version you pre-order.
And a tiny little John Cena action figure.
And an autographed plaque and a piece of the ring that he won his historic 17 title win to tie Ric Flair for title held within their career.
Calm down, John. You are too excited about this collector's edition.
I made the joke, and I feel like I feel like the name that they chose, the Seen Enough edition, the 2K17 or 2K18 Seen Enough edition.
Yeah,
it's collector's edition. I'm just like, yeah, I've seen enough of this to know that I ain't gonna fucking buy your collector's edition. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Like it's just here's my thing. This game comes out in 2, maybe 3 months.
Yeah.
No footage.
No footage.
They have released 0 footage for this game.
Okay.
They have said that they've completely overhauled the game.
Mm-hmm.
This game comes out soon.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
I mean, it should be gold right now, by now, right? And insert for a release 2 months from now, or close to it. I mean, it's at least feature complete. They should just be
maybe
bug bash on it.
Who knows? So I mean, my big thing is like I'm kind of, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm gonna do like I did last time. I'm gonna buy it digitally online, so that I can have it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't give a shit about this collector's edition. I mean, at least last year when they had the NXT collector's edition,
mm-hmm.
it at least had stuff that I wanted.
Yeah.
Like even if it wasn't like, like it actually had like, oh, you get Shinsuke Nakamura and this special NXT pack that contains these other characters that are from NXT. Here I get to have 2 more costume variations for John Cena.
Yay! Woo!
So it's, I don't know. Like I said, it's just like I'm just like, you know what? I don't fucking care about your game until you fucking show me something.
Okay.
Your fucking trailers and live action trailers and shit are useless to me now.
That's legit. Oh, I can understand that. Yeah. Okay.
So like I said, I'll buy it. When it comes out, I'm not gonna buy no fucking collector's edition for John Cena. Fucking
maybe because John Cena's in the collector's edition. That's why you can't see the game footage.
I got what you're going.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't see. It's
Sorry, I don't know. I just I don't really have a dog in this fight, but I like the fact that like both you and Amanda do. So I
Yeah, I don't fucking know. I don't care.
Is WWE your Dark Souls? Is that like franchise like your Dark Souls? Like you're looking forward to it every year, and then like it lets you down, or it doesn't, or whatever?
No, I just like wrestling games. And those are the only ones that are consistently released.
Okay.
We don't get a lot of wrestling games very often.
That's true.
I mean,
that's true.
We had Fire Pro Wrestling World, which was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Which I also figured out what I did wrong in importing all the characters when we did our Super Awesome Video Game Show. I figured out what I didn't do.
Okay.
For that, so that sucked, but that's still cool.
Okay. Well, with that, we are going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to answer some questions. And actually, I got 2 games to do some little mini reviews on. So
shit.
Stick around, and we'll see you in just a second. Yep. And we have some questions. Mail at RageSite.com is the email address for questions. But first, before we do that, very briefly talk about 2 quick games that I have been playing over the last week.
Oh, yeah. You said you wanted to talk about 2 games.
Yeah. The first of which, this is another one of those real niche reviews, right, is Superhot VR, which... in the videos, we're going to have some videos coming out for this, but for the interest of full disclosure, the developer sent me a copy. It's, I think, $20 on the PlayStation Store for just the VR version. I really like Superhot VR. It's not very long. You can beat it in, like, if you kind of know what you're doing, if you're not dying a lot, you can beat it in maybe like 90 minutes to maybe an hour if you're really, really quick at it. And so for anybody who doesn't actually already know, you should go play Superhot. Everybody should go play Superhot.
Yes, Superhot's great.
It's a great game. So Superhot is, the main conceit of the game is that time doesn't move unless you move. So if you're still, and there's a version on the PC, and there's a version that they just put out on the PlayStation as well of just the regular game where it's just like if you're standing still, time doesn't move, and if you move, then time moves.
Yeah, there's a regular version on the Xbox One as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very stylized. All the environments are very sparse and white, and then all the enemies are just the same kind of like red crystal-looking characters. Guns and knives and things are all these like kind of dark gray. But I got to tell you, the VR version, it's one of those things where I feel like I've tried to describe this before about things like Mortal Blitz or even like Arizona Sunshine, where if those games were just regular old shooter games that you control with a controller, they would be mediocre, right?
Yeah.
They would not be good games. They would be okay games.
Yeah.
But there's a difference in the visceral way where when you're actually holding a virtual gun and pointing it at somebody and shooting, that set of actions has a different like reward emotionally when you're doing it as opposed to using a controller to line up a reticle and then pressing the R2 button.
Yeah.
And Superhot actually works really well because it's so basic. You don't move in Superhot. It's like kind of like a room scale game where you're moving around in like the area where you're in, but you can't just like at will. Like in regular Superhot, you can move your character around in the map to get a better position. Here, it's like a series of challenges where you're always standing in the same location. Some locations have like cover, some locations don't have cover, and then you are, killing people. But it's ludicrously effective how interesting it is that the whole like the game only moves when you move, because it now only moves when you physically move your body, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to the other one where it was like when you move your mouse or when you move in the keyboard. This is like the amount that you move your body actually determines the game speed. And so it really has a different quality. Plus, in VR, as I'm sure that you can imagine, because you have a PSVR headset,
yes,
seeing like a bullet flying at your face in VR slow motion is really effective.
Yeah, because you want to move your head. Like in a video game, when you're playing regular Superhot, like you see the bullet and you're like, okay, I can see the bullet coming at me. It's like if I see this thing over here on the corner of the screen, so if I move this way, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
But when you're playing, mind you, I haven't played Superhot VR, but when you're playing a VR game, and I played one where you can actually see the bullet, like the track of the bullet.
Yeah.
And it's like, when you see it coming at your head,
yeah,
in VR, it's like, oh shit, I need to move. Like your instinct is to move immediately.
Yeah.
Which, for a game like Superhot VR, is probably not always the best thing.
It isn't. In fact, you have to like train yourself a lot. In fact, the dojo videos, you guys are going to see that the person that I was playing with liked to move around a lot and basically made Superhot into kind of a reflex trying to do everything in real time. And then when I step up, it's like you get into a new level and you got all these red guys standing around you. And the first thing that I do is stand real still and like look really slowly at where everybody is. And yeah, it's also really visceral when you see a human shape with like an axe running at you, like with its arm up. Like I felt like there was a certain amount of primal instinct in me that was just like, fight for your life. You're going to die. Like that guy's going to kill you. But then the nice thing about Superhot, right, is because it's all in slow motion, it allows you to do some really fun things, which are even more fun in VR, where you start up a level and like, you pick up a knife, you throw the knife at somebody, and then the gun is flying through the air. And so you reach up and grab it out of the air and then shoot a guy on the way down. And like, all the while, stuff is going on around you. So it was really fun. It was incredibly fun. I actually played all the way through all of the campaign missions probably 3 times at this point.
Okay.
After the only problem is that as a value proposition, after you're done, so there are some challenge modes where you're supposed to go through levels without, like if you die, it just boots you back out to the menu. There's a thing called endless mode where there are 5 different stages where just guys, there's like white portals that guys just keep coming out of forever. And so
there's probably some Easter eggs, some hidden things in the game, like in the actual Superhot.
Oh yeah, it's possible. I like the way that they do achievements, because when you get an achievement in Superhot, a Post-it note appears and you can actually pick it up and like throw it at people and stuff. But it's not. You don't walk around, like there is no movement outside of just there'll be a pyramid that appears that you grab, and then that just teleports you to the next like little arena location. You can also reset your progress. There's a full set of achievements. I think the whole thing is worth $20 if you've got a VR headset. Like
I definitely want to buy it. Like the Superhot VR is definitely one of those games I want to buy. It sucks I'm like right in the middle of this move right now and can't afford a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
But But yeah, no, I without even having played the VR, just having played regular Superhot, I already knew $20 was worth it.
Yeah. And if you haven't ever played Superhot, I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and throw in here a recommendation. You should probably go play Superhot too, because that game's great.
There's also a card game for Superhot coming out.
Yeah.
That I backed on Kickstarter.
Oh, shit.
So I should be getting that sometime within the next month or so.
Is it like Uno, but when you get to your last two cards, you have to say super?
I don't know.
Hot.
I don't know, but apparently you can play it single player or with multiple players. So I'm curious to see how this game plays
Cards
out.
only move when you move. That's
the cards only move when you move.
If you're not
them.
moving, the cards are completely still. It's weird.
Yeah, they only move when you move them.
The other thing that I don't feel like I can do a full review on is I did get Splatoon 2, and I've been playing a fair amount of Splatoon 2. I'm going to say right now that, again, with the amount of limits of the Switch library, I feel like Splatoon 2 is kind of a no-brainer if you've got a Switch. It's got the multiplayer mode, which is similar to the previous Splatoon. It's 4-on-4. A couple of things are different because, like in Splatoon on the Wii U, you were able to use the second screen to see like how much ink was on the map, whereas here you have to pull up like a separate map button. You're able to quickly do that thing where you would jump your little inkling to a place where now you have to open up a window to do that. And then, the characters have they had sub weapons in the last one, but now it's like you charge up to a super weapon. There's all this gear that has unlocking abilities. That's great. There's also a full single player campaign, which is a little weak, to be honest, because Splatoon is more of a multiplayer thing, than it is a single player thing. And then there's the Salmon Run, like the Horde mode DLC that you can get in there.
Yeah.
All this adds up to, like, there's a lot to do in Splatoon. If you don't like Splatoon, I mean, you're kind of shit out of luck. But, like, if you like Splatoon in any way, shape, or form, which I really do, there's an awful lot to do here. Like, there are plenty of maps where I've ended up, just trouncing the other team, and it's really fun. And you get to every day. I think it's like every day every few hours they rotate the two maps that are being played in the competitive multiplayer and then ranked multiplayer. I haven't even gotten to ranked multiplayer yet. But it looks really good. It controls really good. Like at first, it has motion controls turned on for aiming, but you can turn those off. You can just use the right stick to aim like you would like a civilized human in a video game.
Yeah.
I don't have a really super in-depth, like I can't tell you if the story of the campaign mode is worth a damn or if the multiplayer gets horrible at higher levels or whatever. But all I know is that I've always felt like Splatoon was a game where you could just boot it up, have some fun, right? And this is no exception at all. It's very fun, very colorful, very well produced.
Okay.
I think if you got a Switch, probably a good investment.
Good to know.
Yep. All right. So from
moving on to questions.
Yeah, let's go on to some questions. This next one is a little bit of a response to me kind of railing about spoilers last week.
Whoa, spoilers! I haven't listened to last week's episode. Fuck you, Jeff.
I admit that I was a little bit higher on my horse than I usually am last week. A few people had some choice objections to my thoughts on spoilers, specifically like "fuck you, Jeff." Spoilers for life. Nobody cares.
Yeah, spoilers are great character in DC Comics. I mean, yeah, she was Robin that one time, but she went back to being Spoiler.
Hey, Spoiler! I didn't know that Robin was a spoiler. Anyway, so this is from this person doesn't have a name, so I'm just going to call them K. K says, hey, Jeff and John, loving the site and all the vids. Sorry about the long email. On your thoughts about Doctor Who, I totally hate spoilers in today's society. However, in my opinion, I would in no way equate the casting announcement on the same level as Darth Vader. And this is what I wanted to talk about. Okay, I'll read this and then I'll explain, and then we can talk about it briefly. To me, this is just the same as finding out who the new James Bond or Batman is. The spoiler, if any, came months ago when Capaldi announced he wasn't coming back. I understand not wanting to know anything about a show/movie, but that to me means a media blackout, which would mean not watching any trailers. Either this, though, still wouldn't be classed as a spoiler, but your preference for not knowing anything. Love to know your thoughts further on this, whether on the podcast or email. Keep up the great work, from Kay. So in the last thing, this is about the Doctor Who casting.
Yeah.
I likened that to finding out about Darth Vader being Luke Skywalker's father before the movie. I admit that was a little bit hyperbolic.
I would have totally called you out for that being hyperbolic had you said that to me.
A little hyperbolic. And in thinking about it, thinking a lot about it over the course of last week, they have announced who like the next Doctor will be. The main thing that got my goat was that I don't follow anything. I do kind of sequester myself. Like, okay, people who have posted spoilers about, like, say, Game of Thrones on Facebook, I mute them because I don't want to know spoilers. And if a person, like, I'm not trying to browbeat my friends into not speaking their mind, but on the other hand, if you're the kind of person who's going to 5 minutes after Game of Thrones is off, go spoil Game of Thrones on Facebook, then I don't really want to read your Facebook update, right? We can still be friends and chat, whatever. But what I was trying to get across was that it would have, like, this casting change for Doctor Who is a bigger thing than most just like, here's the next guy, right? This is a bigger thing, and I just would have liked to have been able to watch the episode and go, oh, I can't believe it! They did it! Like, whoa!
Well, and I could say in regards to that, in regards to this specific news item, you were never going to get that. Even if no one had posted about it, if no one had said anything, you never would have gotten that.
Yeah.
Because again, it doesn't matter what people are sharing or the fact that everyone shared that video that the BBC put out themselves.
Yes.
It doesn't matter that people announce, oh, hey, there's a new Doctor Who, and here's the name of the person or whatever.
Yeah.
It's Doctor Who. I've known who the new Doctor is pretty much ever since I started watching Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I've known who the next Doctor is long before they actually even did a storyline where they changed the Doctor. Yeah. So it's kind of in regards to Doctor Who. That's the fandom. You're gonna get that's gonna be spoiled for you.
So
I get it in regards to other things.
Here's the issue that I have. Right, a lot of people have said, Jeff, if you don't want spoilers, you're basically gonna have to fully disconnect from the internet. I say that's boo to that. No, but like a lot of times you'll come in here with information about, like, movies or whatever, when we talk about trailers at the very beginning, that I don't know because I don't read movie news websites.
No, I
right?
get that.
Like, and so the problem that I had with this information was the place that I got it was from Game Informer with a giant picture and a headline that read the exact thing, and there was nothing coy about it. And I feel like it's like, I don't mind the information is out there, but I just don't. Like, Game Informer is not where I would think that I would get that information.
True.
And even if they were going to put that information, I would hope that they would just say, new Doctor Who casting news, click here, find out, instead of just like the first 3 words saying the thing, right? That and with a picture below it of the thing that they're saying. And then not only that, but then the other thing that kind of rankles me was that I didn't know that Capaldi was leaving, and then when the new season of Doctor Who was getting ready to start, I wanted to see when the air dates were going to be, and I went to Google and I just typed in Doctor Who, and so I was looking to get to the Wikipedia entry for Doctor Who, and because Google does the little news story suggestion things, the first 3 news stories were all 3 of those, like, Peter Capaldi's leaving. He's leaving at the end of the season. And I was like, well, but I didn't want to know that that's what I'm getting at, is that I'm getting this I'm getting broadsided by this information in places that I wouldn't normally think that information was coming from. Because here's the thing. If it hadn't have been for Google doing that, if it hadn't have been for Game Informer posting that thing on Twitter, I wouldn't know this information. And so anyway, that got me thinking that I really want somebody to write an app that I can basically just be like, put in some keywords, like for Doctor Who, and then it's just going to like sit, like either a browser plugin that is just going to hide that shit. It's just going to like put a big black bar over it that says like spoiler tag, right? And like, but some people were saying there was a few responses. Some people said, like somebody asked me, like, Destiny 2, the way that they've announced, like that they've talked in the release trailers in the beta, has shown you what happens at the beginning of Destiny 2, and like, do you consider that a spoiler? And I don't think I do, because when I look at story structure, story structure has what the inciting incident, and then like your exposition, and then your kind of road up to the climax, and your denouement, and your conclusion. Right? Is that stuff that happens in the first 10 minutes, I don't really consider a spoiler, because that's that's the inciting incident. That's not the, like, when you look at the way that a story is told, a story builds to a climax. And the problem that I have with spoilers a lot of times is that if the spoiler that you're talking about takes place in the climax, then that emotional build gets fucked with, because you know information before you're supposed to know it. And so it, to me at least, fucks that up. In any case, I still don't like spoilers. I understand the Doctor Who thing was, people got real mad, or a few people got real mad at me for not wanting to know that information, of just like, Grandpa, get with the times. Like, you know, you can't just, but you just need to get off the internet entirely. Well, first off, I can't get off the internet entirely. That's just not an option for me. I just can't do it.
Are you asking him to shut the site down? Because that's what'll happen.
I mean, you know, maybe I just need to look at Google and see if there's an option to be like, turn off suggested news stories and then, you know, live with everything else.
I don't know. Like I said, I mean, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things,
yeah.
I do get what you're saying, and I do agree with you. Now, in the smaller scheme of just this specific news item,
yeah,
I agree with him. You're being a little bit hyperbolic, or at least you were with what I've read that you have said. Because again, I didn't listen to that podcast,
right?
And I haven't listened to it, so you know you've all spoiled that shit for me. But you know, so it's not is. I mean, again, it's. BBC released it, which they released it because they wanted to get ahead of it. They wanted to be like, look, if anyone, I mean, it is the same thing as just like who's playing who's the next person to play fucking. It's the whole, you know,
James Bond.
Yeah, James Bond.
Email,
yeah,
right? You know,
it's the who's going to be the next James Bond. Who's gonna be replacing? You know, Ben Affleck might be leaving the Batman movies, and who's going to replace him?
Okay, so I think it's a little bit different than that, just because when you talk about who's going to be the next James Bond, or like who's going to replace Batman, like the Doctor Who thing is actually woven into the structure of the story of Doctor Who and has implications. And normally, just to reiterate, normally I wouldn't have a problem with knowing. I think I knew that Peter Capaldi was going to be the next Doctor before the first episode of his.
Yeah, I mean, hell, Matt Smith was announced long before.
I think I avoided that one. I think I didn't really see that one. It's just that the thing that I'm worried about is just that there's so many outlets are trying to get your clicks, right?
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah.
It's become more and more blatant, and that's what it's just harder to ignore.
And sometimes there are places that are trying to get your clicks, and they'll just do flat out lies. No. There was a because of Comic-Con, there was like one media page that had said that, like, a headline that was like, Marvel reacquires Fantastic Four and announces new Fantastic Four movie at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And then, like, you click on the article, and literally there's nothing about the Fantastic Four anywhere in the article. And then at the very end of it, it says, by the way, we only put that title there to get you to click on the article. And it's just like, wow, fuck you.
Yeah. This is why I don't, I mean, for the most part, I try to stay away from that kind of entertainment news websites, just because that shit happens.
Well, it's like the only reason I even found it is because someone texted it to me and was like, "Hey, is this true? I just saw an article that said this. Is this real? Is this really?" Because I'm not seeing it anywhere but this one place. I was like, I'm not hearing that at all. Where the fuck are you seeing this? And then they sent me the link, and I looked down and was like, yeah, this is bullshit. Read the article. Read the bottom of the article where they say that the title's bullshit.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's that. This next one is more of a comment on Matt and I, and this person does not have a name. Huh. All right, I'm going to call you S. S says, "Hey Jeff and Fantabulous John. On your Destiny video," well, that would be mostly for me, but on your Destiny video, you were talking about the McDonald's "I'm loving it" jingle. P.S. You guys could not sound whiter. Ha ha ha. By the way, Neptunes is a production group with Farrell. I don't really remember any of that. I remember I was talking about the "I'm loving it" thing, but I don't know. And I do sound extremely white. I'll cop to that any day of the week.
Yeah, you do.
I don't think anybody's going to be like, I always thought of Jeff as like an Asian guy. Like, no. Anyway, so S says, got me thinking, what are your favorite ad jingles? Loving the site, all the best, from S. So I thought that this would just be a fun thing. You got any jingles that you like there?
No, I wish I wasn't Oscar Mayer Wiener.
Well, is that true? Do you like that one?
I do. I mean, it's in my head.
Okay,
all the time.
When I say, man, there was a point last week where I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know what God in this universe that I pissed off.
Also, I think what was it? There was something me and you played that we kept playing, and we kept making references to Crossfire.
Oh yeah, dude, I love the Crossfire song. No, I don't know what it was, but there was like a full 48 hours where it was just that fucking Big Red song running around in my head all day long. It just, oh my God.
The Mentos commercial.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I haven't thought about the Fresh Maker in a long time. That's a pretty good one.
What would you do for a Klondike bar?
That one's not really a thing for me. Let's see. I'm trying to think of some from when I was a kid. It just reminds me of Demolition Man. This question just reminds me.
My Baloney has a first name.
Oh yeah, that's true. Dang, you're good at this, John. Well, you're good at just naming jingles. I don't know if these actually are ones that you like or.
So I watched a lot of TV as a child.
Okay.
I have a lot of musical jingles stuck in my head, not just for like ads, but
Top
also
10. Oh, the Kit Kat song.
Yeah, Kit Kat. Give me a break. Give me a break. Yeah, the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
I think this should be a new thing on Rangeline where it's just John sings the jingles, Volume 1. Hey, people, did you need 300 jingles sung by some guy you've never heard of before? Just like an MP3 album of just John sings the jingles, Volume 1. Food. And then
Volume 1, food.
Yeah. The 18 this article says the 18 all-time greatest radio and TV commercial jingles. Okay, I don't know that one. This is the best part of waking up. Like a Good Neighbor, State Farm.
Is there, yeah.
This is Libby's. That's an old one. Like to teach the world to sing. $5 footlongs.
With a pretty earwig.
What's that?
Meow 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 meow.
Yeah, is that Meow Mix?
Meow 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 meow. That goes in my head constantly.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Stuck on Band-Aid because Band-Aid's stuck on you. Have it your way. Wouldn't you like to be a Pepper too? Oh, I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. That's a pretty good one. Armor Hot Dogs. That just again reminds me of Demolition Man. Fucking what's her face singing that? Deserving a break. All right. Well, that's enough to all beef patty special sauce. Oh man, I don't know if
sesame seed bun. Yeah,
remembers that one. Anyway, I don't know. It's weird too because I feel like I've been. I feel like you're doing this just now, but it's been. I don't know that I've ever bought cable. So I think I've been outside of broadcast TV for maybe 20 years now. Like, I mean, before Netflix or any of that was a thing, we would just download movies and play video games, and I would read books. But like, just having like the boob tube to like turn on, and like there's commercials, and you're just watching stuff, and then there's commercials. Like, I don't know that I've had that in a long time. I guess there's commercials on like YouTube and stuff, but not a huge number of them. I mean, a lot of these days it seems like a lot of just like movie trailers, right?
Yeah,
so that's not even like and then I guess Hulu for a while there, you'd watch it and it would have commercials on it.
Well, I mean, they do unless you pay to not have commercials like I do.
Yeah. Well, no, they used to, but it used to when Hulu first launched, it was just commercial driven, right?
Yeah.
It was just TV shows with commercials. But yeah, I think it's been a long time since I've had.
And then they allowed you to pay for it, and you still got commercials, and then they upped their pay for it so that you didn't have commercials.
Yeah, that first step in Hulu, I was like, this is bullshit. Like, I'm paying for access to shows, but I still have to fucking watch commercials?
Well, what you were paying for was the ability to access the shows on your console or on your tablet or on any place other than on a computer on their website.
Access it on my butthole, fucking Hulu. Mike writes in and says, hey, Jeff and John, it's a little bit of a downer question, but, we'll get there. with the recent death / suicide of Chester Bennington, hit me hard. I was a pissed off teenager, and Linkin Park helped me get through that. Do you have any thoughts on Linkin Park? Also, any bands that hit you hard when things go bad within that particular band? And that is from Mike. I have to say, I didn't really listen to Linkin Park, so
I have listened to their music. I actually went and saw them live once.
Oh, okay.
I was working at a company that would get tickets to events at a local venue, and they'd give them to employees. And one of the employees got 2 tickets to go see. It was Linkin Park, POD, Hoobastank, and Story of the Year.
Hoobastank.
It was those 4 bands were, and I actually really like Story of the Year.
Okay.
And I was kind of like, take or leave it on Hoobastank. I hate POD with a passion, and I was like, I don't hate, Linkin Park.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine was like that friend who got the tickets was like, I've had 3 people cancel on me. I need someone to go to this concert with me. Mm-hmm. John, do you want to go? I was like, do I have to pay you anything to get the ticket? He's like, no, I got them for free. I'm like, cool, I'm going.
Okay.
It was a fucking amazing concert.
Great.
Except POD, because they fucking suck. But Linkin Park put on a fucking amazing show.
Okay.
Like, despite, say what you will about their music or how you feel about it, they fucking know how to put on a concert that is entertaining.
Okay.
But I like I said, I listen to them. I have listened to them. I don't hate them. I don't listen to them really anymore. I haven't in a while.
Yeah.
But I don't hate their music.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like hearing the news about what happened, about him did kind of suck. But yeah.
I feel like I there's a lot of people. It's interesting because I feel like rather than bands, I don't really get all that. I have like, oh, that's a shame, but I feel like there's some people that get very broken up about celebrity deaths.
Certain celebrity deaths, yeah.
The only one that ever did anything was when David Bowie died, because that was just like, it was so, like, my brain couldn't conceive of a world that didn't have that guy in it, and that really did, like, he was so much more than just like an entertainer, it was like he was funny and he did art, and guy had an ISP, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, in regards to this, I mean, this is it's this one hits a little bit harder because it's a suicide.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that he definitely had some issues. Like he publicly talked about his depression issues.
Yeah.
And it really sucks when you see someone who's battling with that and then succumb to it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that's definitely it's sad. It's and I can understand people, when it comes to like music and stuff like that, you like, God forbid, I've grown up listening to the music of Less Than Jake. If any one of those band members committed suicide or died, it would fucking hit me hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and heck, there was another band that's another indie punk band that a lot of people probably don't know.
Yeah.
30 Foot Fall. It's a band from Houston. I'm from Houston. I used to go to their shows every fucking time, all the fucking time in Houston. Mm-hmm. In high school, like during the summer, that was literally, me and my friends when we would have like LAN parties back, before there was a good internet and you had to actually like lug your computer to a friend's house.
Sure.
And you would all network together to play games against each other. Like we would actually schedule those events during the summer around their concerts in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
So that we would basically, the entire weekend, we'd play games, and then we'd stop, we'd go to the concert, and then come back and play more video games.
All right.
Because that was just that is just what we did.
Yeah.
The guitarist for that band recently died of a I don't know what he died of, but it was actually like a thing he had to go to the he like collapsed and had to go to the hospital.
Uh-huh.
And what sucks is it was a dude I knew. Like I actually worked with him for a little bit.
Oh wow.
It's like it was one of those things that he worked and I was like, holy shit, you're in 30 Foot Fall, and he's like, yeah. I was like, you're the guitarist for 30. Holy shit, man. He's like, yeah, I recognize you. You've been in a lot of our shows, kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, it's fucking awesome. But he died, and it was fucking it hit.
Yeah,
because that's a band, and mind you, in that case, that's someone I actually knew and had at least a passing acquaintance with.
Yeah.
But yeah, but when it comes to music though, it's like some people, they follow these musicians. their music is there at the hardest point of your life. Their music is there to help you get through. Like this is what a lot of people do. They listen to music when they're down. They listen to music when they're need counseling to just get their mind off of things.
Right.
So when that musician or that actor in a movie or that whoever it is that they turn to suddenly dies, that's like it can feel like the death of a friend.
Okay. I don't know that I have that level of emotional. Maybe I'm too rational about, like, I don't know that person, right? Like, personally. I mean, if it was a person that I knew, anybody that I knew, obviously it would be great tragedy, but I don't know. It doesn't personally mess me up.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, it's not like I'm sitting around bawling or anything like that, but it is something where I kind of have to sit down and just kind of go like, oh man, that's whew, like what, like that's, I'm not going to get anything new from that person. I'm not going to be able to ever, like, God forbid if Stan Lee ever dies.
Stan Lee is an immortal mummy. We all know this.
Don't jinx it.
Okay. Daniel writes in with a question that I feel like we've talked about before, but it never hurts to go back and talk about again. He says, hello, Jeff and John. I wanted to ask y'all if there were any media franchises, games, movies, etc., that were killed for you because of the fandom. It doesn't necessarily need to be vicious negativity. It can also be overexposure or people pestering you to experience it. I encountered this a lot with friends when I recommend Undertale. They felt that the fans pushed them away from it simply because of overhype. Thanks and take care, Daniel.
Well, we already know my story about Children of Men.
That's true. That's true.
But I feel like there is something that recently that the fandom itself just made me go, oh, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. I can say that I might have talked about this before, might not have, but I can honestly say I think that the Dark Souls fans have fucked up that franchise pretty hard. The way that in the first one you got the get good community, right? And then the second one, there were a lot of people that were just like, this isn't hard enough. And then the third one was just like such a bump up in like difficulty and just some ridiculous bullshit. Like there's a boss in that game that I'm never going to beat in from the DLC that's just some horseshit. But I really don't like a lot of the Soulsborne fandom, mostly because of that get good shit. Like, it's not like, I don't know. They're just so rabid, and get good doesn't help anybody. Like, it doesn't help new players not be frustrated. It's just like, like if somebody's like, oh man, this is really hard, and you're just like, that's just because you suck so hard. If you sucked less, then it wouldn't be hard, fuck face. And you're like, oh, okay, bye. Like, I'm see everybody, I'm leaving.
I mean, it's good for a joke, but outside like, but yeah, I know there are people who are actually like, no, you need to get better at the game. Just get better at the game, and then you won't.
I mean, it's interesting because what they're saying could be phrased in a way that would help people. Of like, a lot of times in this game, it's about timing, it's about spacing, and one of the ways that that this can be less frustrating to you is by like immersing yourself in it and just playing it a lot, so that you have more experience with like how fast does your sword swing and how fast does a dodge work and like what's the wind up for this particular enemy. But all that gets boiled down to just like fuck your mother. Like that's my advice to you.
Good.
Yeah, is eat my butthole. That's my advice. But I actually feel that I don't know. Some of this is also from Bonfireside Chat, where like Dark Souls 1 is obviously easier than Dark Souls 2, and Dark Souls 2 is obviously easier than Dark Souls 3. If they were to make a Dark Souls 4 and they keep this same difficulty curve going up, geez, I don't know. Like I never came to these games because they were so hard, right? I like them because of the story and stuff.
Yeah.
So sometimes the fandom for Dark Souls can also be a little bit like gross.
Okay. I got 1, maybe 1.5 that the fandom is ruined for me.
Sure.
One, and I say 1.5 because they're technically both tied together, but one is not a franchise or property. One is a person.
Okay.
But the other one is, I love Firefly.
Mm-hmm.
I do. The fandom has ruined Firefly for me.
Really?
Every time I fucking hear of, well, they need to bring back Firefly, it's like, no, fuck you. Enough time has passed. It's done.
Yeah.
Fuck you. let them do their own things. They're not coming back. You got a fucking movie. Be happy you got that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of in that regard. Like, I still like Firefly, but I haven't watched it in I don't know how long, and every time I've ever thought about watching it, suddenly I hear the fandom being like, we need to bring Firefly back, there's rumors that Firefly's going to get renewed. Why didn't you renew Firefly?
Yeah.
Kind of thing, after so long. It's just like, no, fuck you. Go fuck yourself, you little fucking brown coat. Just fucking go off somewhere and die.
Yeah.
That's literally my mental thought, and then I don't watch Firefly.
Yeah.
Because fans piss me off so much. The other, which is connected to that, is Joss Whedon.
Uh-huh.
I actually like a lot of what Joss Whedon does. But the fandom about how Joss Whedon is god of everything, and like, oh, if Joss Whedon is going to be doing rewrites, Justice League, that means Justice League's going to be the greatest fucking movie ever. No, it's not. Avengers 2 was fucking garbage.
Yeah.
Joss Whedon directed that. No.
I feel the same way.
He's not God. He's not. Him rewriting a script does not mean it's going to be good writing a script. He's written bad scripts, people. He wrote the original script for the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie. That movie was garbage. Though I love that movie because it's garbage. But that's beside the point.
I kind of feel the same way about some of the Nolan worship that happens, right? Because I thought Interstellar was stupid. I'll be honest. I thought that Interstellar was just stupid and long, and then also stupid and long. Batman, out of the three Batmans, the second one is a very, very wonderful movie, right? Let's not go down the road of Jeff hates the Dark Knight, but like, the first one and the third one,
I feel like the Dark Knight trilogy, I think they are fine movies. They are actually really good movies. I do feel like they have done more to hurt comic book movies than help.
Oh, okay. Because of how gritty and serious they are.
Well, it's not even that. It's just like they're not comic book movies.
Yeah.
They're real world. They're what if the comics were like real life.
Right.
Like, what if this happened in the real world? How would it work? Which that's not a comic book movie. That's not how comic book movies should be, in my opinion. It's just, I don't know. Like I said, that's not what I want out of my movies. I mean, but they're good movies. Here's the thing. They're good movies. I like them. They're for what they are. If you take them as an alternate reality, the realistic take on Batman, all three of them are great. Yeah. I own all three on Blu-ray. I love them for that. But to say that they are the be-all, end-all of Batman movies, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, everybody knows the Adam West Batman movie was the best Batman movie.
In all honesty, at this point...
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. Well, did you have another one as far as fandoms go, or was that it?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. There's other stuff. I mean,
I'm sure there's others too.
There's that contingency of people... it doesn't drive me away from the property, but when it comes to like super hyped up fandom, I love the DC fans who say that the only reason the DC movies don't have a perfect score is because Marvel's literally paying off Disney's paying off reviewers to shit on these perfect gems of movies and make sure that the Marvel movies come out like, because the Marvel movies are all kiddie bullshit. DC movies are really these perfect movies. I love that idea because it's like, you can't, like, it bothers you so much that somebody else disagrees with you that you literally have to.
A conspiracy.
It has to be a cabal, a secret conspiracy that nobody's talking about, where the mouse is writing checks to those filthy reviewers to pan your movie.
Fuck, I wish Disney was writing us fucking checks.
Oh man, I would love that. But I love that idea so much. I don't know. It just tickles me. All right, let's see what we got.
They wouldn't even have to. I mean, literally, they'd be like, "Hey, we want you to talk bad about Batman v Superman." Okay. Yeah. Well, also, we're going to give you $1 million. I was going to do it anyways, but okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It was a fucking terrible movie.
Yep. Danny writes in and says, "Good morning, Jeff and John. Danny, the bespectacled gamer here with a quick question. Oh, it's not a comic book thing. It always seemed to me that a superhero trying to keep a secret identity is more dangerous for those around them than just telling them. DC seems to be more about the dual lifestyle than Marvel, Spider-Man being the exception that comes to mind. Yay or nay on secret identities in superhero stories, and why? Thanks for the laughs. Just like Clark Kent, you've been bespectacled." And that's from Danny. What do you think?
I'm okay with them. I am okay with the secret identity idea. I don't think every superhero needs that.
Okay.
Like I feel like there are superheroes who work without having a secret identity. Like their secret identity, who they like. Everyone knowing Reed Richards is Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Totally get it. Totally understand it. Totally, that's no brainer. No one Peter Parker having, not wanting his identity to be out there, but also wanting to be Spider-Man. Again, totally works as a story. Now, I mean, so in regards to that, I don't mind it. I do think the idea of a secret identity hasn't really evolved all that much, and in the grand sense of this superhero is the only person and maybe one other person are the only people that know that Clark Kent is Superman, or that Bruce Wayne is Batman, or but no one else can know other than this like one or two people. That's kind of a little bit outdated.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, the problem is the more people who know a secret, harder it is to keep that secret. But I do feel like that, like in the case of, I'm trying to think of a good example here, like Daredevil.
Yeah.
There are quite a few people that do know his secret identity. And that's fine, but he still has it because if he didn't, he couldn't be a lawyer.
Right.
And other like there is an element of drama to that of, for example, using Daredevil, he's a lawyer.
Yeah.
If it got out that, because it did in the comics, if it got out that Daredevil is Matt Murdock, the blind lawyer Matt Murdock, you have two problems. One, that's conflict of interest, and that's actually, against the law, because a cop can't be a lawyer at the same time.
Right.
So even if vigilantism also is against the law.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of one of those things where then that puts a bad eye on every case that he's ever tried. Right. And so then every person, mind you, he's a defender in courts. He was never the prosecutor. So, he was getting guys off of, off of their, he's getting them proven innocent or whatever. He was never trying someone to be guilty. But every case now has to be relooked at and go, okay, well, was Daredevil involved in this case? Okay, could he as Daredevil have done something to affect the evidence to change, to influence the jurors?
Yeah.
It puts a shadow of doubt on everything he's ever done. So keeping that secret, there's a little bit of a drama to that.
Yeah.
So, and it works so well. And I even liked how they kind of, when the genie did get out of the bottle, and his identity was public, like how they kind of dealt with it for a while of, well, people, it kind of came out that the newspaper that printed it may not have actually been, may have been lying, and he sued the newspaper for libel. And so then people were like, well, he's saying he's not Daredevil, and this paper never really proved 100% without a shadow of a doubt that he is Daredevil.
Yeah.
And it's also been proven that he is blind.
Right.
And Daredevil is very clearly not a blind man.
Right.
So everyone knows the urban legend that Murdock is Daredevil.
Right.
But is he really Daredevil kind of thing?
Yeah.
And there was a whole drama with that was really well done. It also was a whole thing of, if I want to protect the people close to me, that secret can't get out. Because if Norman Osborn knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, he's going to go, hey, I'm going to kill your Aunt May.
Yep.
Because, well, you're Spider-Man, and I clearly don't have the capacity to kill you, but I can kill everyone you love.
I think it kind of depends on what kind of stories you want to tell.
And again, that's the thing. It depends on the story.
The X-Men don't really have, secret identities.
Yeah.
But then the X-Men stories are more about mutants in their place in the world than they are about I'm a college student. I'm trying to, oh shit, I can hear a police siren. I gotta go.
And again, that's the thing. It's just, I feel like there's a place for both of those stories.
Yes.
There is a place for superhero identity stories, and there is a place for...
Well, it also opens up a lot more interesting character development, because a secret identity can be more of a relatable slice of life type of thing. You necessarily have the conflict of how do you have a secret identity and also be a superhero at the same time. I personally really like the whole Peter Parker sells pictures of Spider-Man to the newspaper that he works for. I like that quite a bit.
It's the first superhero to ever take a selfie.
Yeah. Yeah. So I actually
practically invented that shit.
I actually like it quite a bit, because I'm trying to think of superheroes that don't have. I mean, like Iron Man. I guess you don't get a lot of like Tony Stark.
Well, Tony Stark's being Iron Man is public knowledge. Steve Rogers being Captain America is public knowledge. Like I said, the Fantastic Four. Everyone knows who the Fantastic Four are.
Right.
And even Luke Cage. People know that Luke Cage is Power Man. They know that Danny Rand is Iron Fist. They're like Marvel's plays a little bit looser with it.
Yeah.
Because yes, there are heroes in Marvel that do totally have secret identities, like Spider-Man, like Daredevil, like fucking Speedball, and fucking Masked Marvel.
Interesting one to go to.
I actually really like the character Speedball, so sue me. There are characters like even Squirrel Girl has a little bit of a secret identity, though she's terrible at hiding it, and it's hilarious. And that's also, like, it's used for humor. Like, she's trying to have a secret identity while in college because that's what she thinks she has to do.
Right.
But she's terrible at keeping her secret identity.
Yeah.
But also, like, having said that, DC, on the DC side, I'm trying to think of DC characters that's identities are public outside of, like, Cyborg, and I actually haven't drawn a blank on DC characters. I mean, Booster Gold, obviously.
That's an interesting question. Let me
Ted Kord, Blue Beetle, like when he was Blue Beetle, it was kind of public knowledge that Ted Kord was the Blue Beetle.
Certainly not.
Guy Gardner, Hal Jordan, like Green Lantern characters were kind of public with their.
Hal Jordan wasn't. He was a test pilot, right?
Well,
his whole secret identity.
I mean, they got rid of it after a while. They got rid of the whole secret identity thing after a while with that. But yeah, Guy Gardner and Jon Stewart totally, like, their identities were like, no, this is me. I'm a superhero.
Like Superboy have a secret identity?
Yeah, he did.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, I feel like with Batman and Superman, like, those are so like part of the DC identity that I think it just kind of filters down from there. I think everybody kind of has a secret identity. Maybe like Impulse, sort of. I mean, but I guess the whole thing is that, like, I'm trying to think of what a comic book would be like if you had a character that was just like, hi, my name is Jack Johnson. I'm the Yellow Beetle, right? Like, if somebody was just really upfront about it, what that comic would be like, because
I mean, we have those.
Yeah.
I mean, we named a bunch of Marvel characters that are like that, and there's even a lot of independent comics that are like that as well.
I actually like the secret identity thing more than not, because I think it makes for a natural tension between your home life and your hero life.
Yeah, it's an element to add drama to it, and that's definitely part of it. Yeah. But I do also agree that there are superheroes who don't need, like you said, the X-Men don't need to have secret identities.
Yeah.
They have code names because, of whatever, but, and then you have, like Luke Cage doesn't need a secret identity.
Actually, the X-Men do kind of have secret identities because they put on the costumes.
Yeah, but people,
like, people don't know. I feel like it's weird because it's almost like they know the X-Men by their X-Men names, but the
world knows that Scott Summers is Cyclops in the comics and things like that. So, I mean, they know, but
it's also been a long time since I've read a comic. All right, we got two more questions. These are both kind of like technical questions. So we should be able to get them pretty quickly. Pedro writes in and says, hello, Jeff and super vivacious John. This is Pedro from the Windy City of Chicago here to ask for your help. For a while now, I've been wanting to create a YouTube channel that examines games from a cultural, historical, social, and analytical point of view. Problem is, I'm totally new to making YouTube videos. I'm confident in my scripts and successfully figured out how to record decent voiceovers through Audacity, but I'm completely stumped in the video editing process. I've tried using game capture tech like the Elgato HD and tried to use Windows Movie Maker. However, my laptop is kind of old and is still using Windows XP, which means I have to deal with problems that I can't seem to figure out. While I really don't want to, I think I'm going to have to bite the bullet and buy a new laptop. Is there any other way? Do you guys know of any free video editing programs that might be able to help me, or do I just have to accept my fate and buy a new laptop? Thanks for your assistance, and that's from Pedro.
I feel like there is another free video editing software other than Windows Movie Maker.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't think of what it's called.
Okay. Let's just type free video editing software into Google and see what results come up.
But yeah.
Let's see. Here's the 10 best free video editing software for Windows 2017. Let's see what we got here. What is the name of this thing? Okay, if your minds are neither free user-friendly jobs, it's got Lightworks.
Lightworks is the one I've heard. I've actually heard really good things about Lightworks.
Okay, check out Lightworks. Shotcut, Hit Film Express, VSDC. I mean, you can do the same thing that I did and just go out there and type free video editing software. Avid Demux. Is this one? Okay, that's one that works on your phone. The computer thing, though, might be something you're going to have to bite the bullet on.
You're probably going to have to buy a new computer. The software, like I said, the first one we mentioned there, I can't remember the title of it.
Lightworks.
Yeah, Lightworks. I've heard about, at least I think that's the one I've heard about. That's not bad. Yeah. There is like a pay-for version of it, but the free editing one is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And then as far as like how to edit that stuff, I mean, there's places that are going to offer, like there are probably YouTube channels that give you information for like tips and stuff on editing.
Absolutely.
I mean, check out, like there's just a whole ton of stuff.
I would just go to YouTube and type in like video editing tutorial.
Yeah.
Or you can, I mean, if you really want to get crazy with it, you can go to Lynda, Lynda.
Yeah.
Or like Great Courses Plus or something like that. Use one of those fucking, every podcast will give you an offer code to get your first month free or whatever for that thing. I won't, because we don't really do that, but
yeah, and I don't know like what type of videos, like if you're just like it's going to be like static images or static like clips from video games or whatnot, like what specifically you're planning on doing. Like if you're going to try to like incorporate like some type of like special effect or something like that. I know one good place that actually typically has some good tips on like screenwriting and like sometimes has some tips on like editing and sound design and things like that, is a Film Riot.
Okay.
They're pretty good. It's a YouTube channel called Film Riot. They post videos every week, and like most of their videos are about like how to do the special effect, or you like look at they'll make like an effect of like a blood vessel bursting on someone's forehead.
Oh yeah.
Or they'll do like a digital effect of like a wound healing, like Wolverine from the Wolverine movie or something like that. Sometimes they'll talk about cameras, specific types of like high end cameras and even low end cameras, just for like filmmaking techniques and stuff like that. But I also do sometimes they'll talk about like how to use like Adobe After Effects and some other stuff and sound design. Sometimes they'll just talk about theories about like how do you do a shot, like how do you plan your shot if you're doing it. And while that may not be the stuff that you're going to do, I definitely think that's stuff to look at, because they do talk about every now and then they'll be like, oh man, here's this other place if you want some editing tutorials and stuff like that. They'll sometimes point you to other channels and stuff like that and other websites that I think they might be a good place to look at.
Okay. I tried using Lightworks and see, but the other thing is that there are some limitations as to how much you can cheat the hardware requirement for video editing, because, if you're streaming different clips together, I mean, you're going to need maybe a little bit of power in whatever computer you're using to do that. Also, if things go along well and you first off, good luck. Good. I hope it all works out.
And another piece of advice I'll also give here that actually has, once you actually get to a point where you can like edit the video, like, even if you think your editing is bad, just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Like don't like keep doing it, keep working, because as you keep doing it, you're going to get better. You're going to figure out, oh, well, if I edit here instead of here, it's going to, you're going to learn as you're doing it. Put them online, get it done, just do it.
Yeah. The other thing is that when you get to a certain point, I would highly recommend looking into the Adobe Creative Suite, because it's $50 a month, or $50 a month, I believe, gets you access to Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere, After Effects, the media encoder. I mean, just like everything you will need for your basic doing stuff on the internet, right?
Yeah.
So. And this last question comes in from, this is another thing that's kind of related to production, comes in from Diego, who says, I recently started listening to the podcast, How Did This Get Made? And although it's fun to listen to, good Lord, did they eat up time thanking their sponsors. Seriously, like 25% of their show. When you guys started up Rage Slight, did you guys consider going down the road of Audible and NatureBox dick sucking? Ultimately glad you guys didn't. Love what you guys do, and may be blessed by the mighty Dong Lord, your loyal patron, Diego. I briefly considered it, but I hit on Patreon. So when we started Rage Select, I always had this idea that it's like, oh man, we're going to get out there, we're going to start doing our thing, and it's just going to fucking explode. We're going to have millions of hits every month. What? Needless to say, that didn't happen. And when I finally started to find out how much money you make monetizing videos on YouTube, it was like, oh. So we pivoted to Patreon almost immediately. And I always thought that between the Amazon links that you can click through, we did some t-shirt runs, and Patreon, I wouldn't feel right stacking another sponsor on top of that. For a while there, I thought maybe Gamefly, but we just never put it together. And then by the time that we kind of got it sorted out, Patreon was fine. Once upon a time, I looked into what it would be to get like the Audible and NatureBox things, mostly because I just want Casper to send me a mattress, and I'll do an ad for them and then just be like, yeah, they sent me a free mattress to try out, and yeah, it's great, this super overpriced mattress, buy a mattress, offer code Rage Select is the best, and then just do that one ad, and just do one ad for everybody, so I can get a NatureBox, I get a Casper mattress, I get MeUndies, I get the box full of clothes, and you send back the ones that you don't want. Every one of those one time, kind of like samples at the grocery store, and then do one ad for each one of those. But I also hate that shit when I'm listening to podcasts, so it irritates me to no end.
I mean, I'll say that when I did Geek Bombast, like that stuff that I definitely prepared for. By that, because I thought that I might have to start doing that at some point. So I purposefully broke the podcast up into multiple parts so that I could throw in a commercial break if I wanted to, but I always wanted to keep the commercials small, and even to prepare for it, I would insert oh, here's an advertisement for Free Comic Book Day, and it was not because anyone from Free Comic Book Day was like, hey, you need to advertise Free Comic Book Day in your podcast. It's just because I didn't want to spend time taking away from something that we were talking about on the show.
Sure,
but I still wanted to, so I put I made a little 1 minute, maybe or less commercial. 1 minute's probably too long, probably 30-second commercial for Free Comic Book Day, saying, hey, Free Comic Book Day's coming up, please remember it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
We did have a sponsor, which was comicbreak.com, which is no longer around anymore. It's a defunct comic book online comic book vendor. But we advertised them, and we did put hey, this is a thing. So sometimes, I mean, it's you do what you can to pay the bills, man.
Yeah.
Because this shit ain't cheap.
That is true. That is very true. And with that, we're done. Those are all our questions. We got all the news out of the way. We got all our opinions out there. I don't think we spoiled too many things. Spoiled a little bit. Just a little spoilers, okay. But not a lot of spoilers. Just a little bit of spoilers.
Spoiled shit from a long time ago.
Damn it!